the first use case is about healthcare. And I think that's something, well, it hit me really hard given some things that happened in my past with my brother, misdiagnosis. And I had to put the book down. Like, honestly, like I had to put the book down because it like really frustrated me to understand that probably what happened to my brother was a failure of information. And I'll give a little bit of the story. I haven't really been vocal about it, but so my brother, when he was probably like 29, I think, he was really sick and he got diagnosed with pneumonia twice. And
Okay.
all right, whatever, pneumonia is pretty serious, but what ended up happening is it was actually stage 4 lung cancer.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so like when we found that out, uh, it was a shock. And when I went to meet him, like one of the first things the doctor said, I'm like, how does this happen? Like, how do you go from pneumonia to
Yeah.
this
How do you miss
diagnosis?
that?
Yeah, like how do you miss it? Like that seems like such
Yeah.
a and he had scans and all that stuff, and he's like, well, you know, when you're looking for horses, you don't see the zebras. And
Mhm.
that is like verbatim what was said to me. And
Wow.
the story in your book, it does such a good job of explaining how that can happen.
But healthcare is one of my favorite industries to consult in just because the potential to save life is so much higher. The potential to prevent harm is so much higher. And I think that's what a lot of organizations are kind of grappling with. And one thing I hope to bring to those conversations is just some level of nuance because people can make an argument, shouldn't a doctor review everything an AI does? And in a perfect world, maybe the answer is yes, right? But then we also have to think about the fact that doctors have very limited time. And every minute they spend reviewing the output of that AI model may mean that they're rushing a surgery, or it may mean that they're doing any number of other things not quite as well. And those are more difficult to track, right? We can track what percentage of cases is a doctor reviewing that an AI model made a preliminary assessment on, for example. But it's really hard to actually trace back what effect that ultimately has on patient lives across the board. And
Hmm.
so that is something to consider, right? Like there's a lot of trade-offs that have to be made in the healthcare kind of industry. And those are difficult decisions because you're dealing with human lives. And so you see that happen, but I think in the story that you're sharing, it's like that quote of, if you're looking for one thing, you're not seeing the other. I think that is so relevant to AI models today because AI models are trained on this particular data set of here's what we're looking for. And so, I'll give just a quick example. I've seen that play out when I was doing work on pneumonia diagnosis. We were doing vision recognition of chest X-rays using an iPhone to diagnose pneumonia, primarily in like rural and third world type countries. And what we found is that the data set of chest X-rays was not broadly applicable. That lungs looked different based on your altitude. They looked different based on where you lived. They looked different based on your age. And so we had in the United States, we had these kind of double blind, just meaning two doctors had independently reviewed and come up with the same assessment for the X-ray. We had double blind chest X-rays for from the National Institute of Health to build this application, and yet that application would not function to the same level of accuracy in other countries, right? Where the X-rays actually looked different because the lungs were different to adapt to the altitude. And it's an incredible thing of the human body to be able to do that, but it also made it really challenging to develop a model that could be consistent, right? And so in that case, you kind of developing this, we're thinking we're getting really good results. We're testing it in the United States. The accuracy level is extremely high. You go and deploy it in another environment, and all of a sudden you're seeing much lower accuracy rates. And it takes you a while to kind of go, is that because they just have a more severe case? Is that because their x-rays are not quite as high quality? Is that because the doctors were late or early to the assessment, right? You're looking for everything that could be different. And what you're not thinking about is maybe the data that we used in the model is where this starts. And that's why, like, you can see in practice that layer one of the framework, like, your data governance is so critical. And so we've learned a lot, we've adapted that, and now the model is just as effective in those third world and rural areas.
This stuff makes a tremendous amount of sense to me. And I'll just put a call to action because I feel like this is my new role in life is to get more salespeople selling this solution. And the solution is
Mhm.
a better way to think about and a better way to solve for systems and making sure that they're safe, that they reduce the overall harm and produce better outcomes, right? I think
Right,
everybody can agree that they want better stuff. Like nobody's like psyched about AI sending more automated emails because nobody
right,
wants emails. It's, hey, yeah, I want to go to the doctor. I want to pay less money, and I want to trust that I'm not getting a misdiagnosis because somebody's too busy to do a thing. And
right,
trust me, I got a ridiculous amount of anxiety. I don't trust any doctors at this point. I'm constantly bouncing around. My medical bills are way too high, but I would love because I know what's behind the scenes and like this book reinforces it. And I'm
mhm,
like, oh man, I really need to help.